In pop culture, there are certain songs we return to every Christmas. Auld Lang Syne reminds us maybe George Bailey's life is actually pretty wonderful after all. Rudolph is a story of how misfits will actually be our brightest heroes. And I'll Be Home for Christmas is a story of longing to be home for the holidays. But for one New Life family, being home this Christmas is taking on a whole new meaning.
I had a really rough pregnancy. It started out really bad. It started out really sick. And right about week 27, I told my husband, I said, something is wrong. I could feel it. Something was terribly wrong.
And then finally, one day after we got back from a long 4-day weekend, her face was swollen, her body was swollen. I knew something was wrong, but I couldn't really tell what.
I guess as long as I could feel her moving, I was okay. I felt okay. But there came a time when she was just moving less and less.
As Becca grew more ill and the Maher family worried about their baby's health, they visited the Army hospital. They quickly realized things were even more serious than they feared.
They came in and they hooked some monitors up and they tried to do an ultrasound and they couldn't find her. I'm like, what do you mean you can't find her? She's there. I mean, I know she's there. I think the last thing I remember was being put into an ambulance and taken to Memorial Hospital.
Once we got to Memorial, she was pretty out of it. Pretty much the decisions from there were left up to me. I think the moment in time that sticks out the most to me is when the doctor walked in and he said, well, you have two decisions. You can either deliver your baby and your wife will live and your daughter may live, or you don't and they both die.
Riley knew he had only one choice, and Kaylin Elizabeth Maher was born May 15, 2013. She weighed 2 pounds 3 ounces at birth. It was a difficult procedure for Becca and took a while before she was healthy enough to meet her daughter.
I just remember waking up and they asked me if I wanted to go see my baby. I spent about 5 minutes in there just looking at her, and I was able to touch her through the incubator. We couldn't hold her, but I just knew when I saw her that she was going to be okay.
Riley had a pending deployment, and while his daughter was still in the NICU, Riley was deployed to Kuwait. The New Life family and military ministry was invaluable in supporting the Maher family while Riley was away.
I don't know if the people who stand at the door at church really understand how important their job is, but I'd walk in the door pushing her stroller and I would have had the worst night before it. I would be just absolutely hating life, and I would walk in the door and just to see a smile was great. It could totally turn my attitude around. It could turn my day around. Some of the ladies in the prayer group would text me, or they would call and say, hey, do you want to have coffee? Do you want to have lunch? Can we come over and see the baby? And sometimes a simple text or a phone call or someone stopping by to bring lunch. It was kind of like God saying, hey, I told you wouldn't be alone, and you're not alone.
Riley had a difficult deployment, but it was also a time that brought him closer to God and shaped his perspective. He came home in some respects a changed man, ready to be the father and husband God called him to be.
When I was walking through those doors and I saw my wife and daughter for the first time in 4 months, all of those thoughts, all of those things that I went through while I was over there just went through my head in 2 seconds. I couldn't really think about anything else other than I just wanted to hug and kiss my daughter and go home and just sit on the couch with him and hold my little girl in my arms.
I have never been so excited in my life to spend Christmas with my family, and not just my husband and daughter, but my church family. I feel like I've already gotten my gifts. I got my daughter's fine and my husband's home. It's exciting to be setting up traditions that we're going to carry on through the years and that our daughter will be a part of, and that our family will be able to, every year we'll be able to celebrate being together.